Hello guys, QG Doc back with the last installment of my TU31 update. Today we're just going to be looking at the items, the new items, and going through the updated features also. So bear with me and let's get stuck in. So the first one up is Raw Rabbit. Obviously from the rabbits that have been included this time, you got Raw Rabbit, which you can turn into Cooked Rabbit, which you can then also turn into Rabbit Stew. Next up you got your Raw Mutton from sheep. And you get, obviously cook that and you get cooked mutton. Next up you have your, what looks like a potato but it's actually a rabbit's foot. And you also get your rabbit hide. Next is the potion of leaping, which will make you jump nice and high. And your potion of water breathing, which is good for going exploring ocean monuments and all that. So it's a handy one to get. Next up is raw salmon and cooked salmon, the clownfish and the pufferfish. Next up is the blue orchid. So you got quite a few flowers here. So you got your blue orchid, you got your allium, you got your azure bluette. You've got 4 different variants of the tulip, well, 4 different colours of the tulips. You got your pink, white, orange, and red. Next up is the daisy, the sunflower, the lilac, the poppy, which I believe replaced the rose, so that's a new one. Next up is the rose bush. Then you have peony, double tall grass, large ferns. Then you got your prismarine crystals and your prismarine shards. Next up is the armor stand. Nice improvement to this one. I'd like to have all my armor on display, especially my creeper heads with the skeleton heads, all that lot. So that's a nice update in this one. Next up is the updated features. So we'll start with the small one, which is it's a 23 by 23 nether portal. Now that's the largest size you can go up to now in this update. The smallest is the 4 by 5 rectangle. Now I believe it says you can only do rectangles, but you can do, I've done 5 by 5 and 6 by 6, which this one is here. So you can do squares all the way up, or you can do rectangles 4 by 5 up. Just to show you guys, when you fly through this, let's just go into the nether now and come out. You do not come out in a 23 by 23. You only come through a normal portal when you come through the nether portal. So you won't be going to anything special on this side, but just in case you're like me and you always miss going through the hole, this will be handy because you won't miss this time if it's 23 by 23. So that's it for the nether portal. Next up is fishing. There's been a fair few improvements on fishing. Let's just fly over to the sea. So, let's cast my line off. If you can see there, the most improvement is you get particle effects now. You get bubbles showing up. You also get bubbles showing when just before something comes on the hook, so you'll see bubbles appearing there. You also get treasure now. When you're fishing, you can catch treasure. This is split up into 3 categories. You get fish, which is raw fish, salmon, clownfish, pufferfish, the ones I just showed you up before. You'll also get your treasures, which is enchanted fishing rod, enchanted bow, enchanted books, name tags, tripwire hooks, lily pad, and saddles. And then you also get your junk, which is damaged fishing rod, water bottle, rotten flesh, string, leather. You get bowl, stick, bone, tripwire hook, ink sacs, and damaged leather boots. So all in all, that's what you get from there now. So it's a nice improvement. Oh, here we go. Do you see that there? We have a catch. I think I missed it there. But yeah, that's the new feature. You'll see bubbles going towards when you're going to get something on the line. Okay guys, while I'm fishing here, I'll just go through the rest of the new updated features. So we've done fishing. Next up is enchanting. Enchanting now consumes lapis lazuli. So we finally got another use for that block, which you seem to get a lot of when mining. Enchanting has now been rebalanced, so you're going to get better Enchants now, the items are going to get better things from it. Enchanting books can receive multiple enchants at once. Next up is villagers. Villagers have additional professions now and trading schemes. Villagers will now harvest crops for you, so they're not going to be as lazy, they'll harvest your crops for you. Villagers will only breed when willing, so you can make them willing by giving them 3 bread, I believe 12 carrots and 12 potatoes, so you can make them breed still, just involves a bit more. Villagers will turn into witches when struck by lightning, so that's a nice little feature. Next up is an update to the dispenser. You can place pumpkins or wither skeleton skulls to spawn golems and withers. This will only work if the body of the golem or wither is already built in a valid configuration. Next up is the anvil. That's been rebalanced also, so that's going to give you better odds on your forging. Next up is crafting. Moss stone, mossy stone bricks and chiseled stone bricks are now obtainable via crafting, so that's a pretty good feature to add in that. Furnace. Cracked stone bricks and sponge are now obtainable via smelting. When a furnace runs out of fuel, the smelting progress will rewind by 2 speed. Okay. Empty furnaces will only accept fuel and empty buckets in the fuel slot. Next up is the item frame, which this is a nice new feature which will come in handy because I like doing some redstone work. So the item frames now emit a redstone signal and can rotate in 8 directions, so that'll come in very handy for redstone work. The redstone comparator, you can now detect the rotation of an item, which obviously the item frame we just spoke about, and it'll output an equivalent power signal, so again really handy to have. Another nice improvement is buttons. You can now place buttons on the top and bottom of blocks, which is really useful. I've came across situations where I need to do that. Powered activator rails. These now dismount entities riding the minecarts. Again, really good that. Cauldrons with water in them will pot out burning entities, taking away 1 water level each time. They've also, as I spoke about in one of my other videos, the sponge block. They've reintroduced this into the survival mode with new behaviours and textures. It obviously will turn into wet sponge when it soaks up the water. As we've seen with the water earlier, the water particles, you'll get them around the sponge when it's wet and when it's collecting water. So next up is the sugarcane. That's just an easy one. It just takes the colour shade of whichever biome it's in, so it's very similar to leaves, grass and vines and all that. So that's a little update. The baby zombies drop XP orbs. Creepers can now be ignited with a flint and steel, so that'd be fun. Run around after some creepers and just ignite them. I'll skip past some of these guys because some of them are just minor updates. Next up is an update for the witch. Witches drink a potion of water breathing if they are cornered and trapped in water, but what's good from this is you can get a rare drop from this, so they will sometimes drop a potion of water breathing when they die. That's a good one. Jungle biomes. Melons can be found in patches similar to pumpkins, blah blah blah. Swamp biomes. Spawn with blue orchid flowers, which I showed you earlier on the deck up there. In shallower parts, the coast is covered in staggered dirt blocks with lily pads between them. New enchantments: Luck of the Sea, Lure and Death Strider. And they've just got some changes and bug fixes, which there's a few. I'll quickly go over them. You get sheep now drop the mutton, which I mentioned up the top there. We had the mutton and obviously cooked mutton. Arrows decelerate much more quickly underwater and extinguish if on fire. Most mobs can now swim. Skeletons flee from wolves. Creepers, skeletons, wither skeletons and zombies drop their heads when killed by charged creepers. That's a funny one. So you'll be able to collect your heads like I had up on the top deck there earlier. Spiders no longer see players through solid blocks, which that's really handy because those spiders get everywhere and they know where you are exactly, so that'll be handy if you're behind a wall now, they won't be able to see you. Fix for players adding additional layers above the minimum height of Superflat. Added flint and steel and fire charge sound effect when igniting blocks. There's updated audio for cows and mushrooms. I haven't heard that yet, so I must go out and hear some of that. updated audio from minecarts again. I would have to hear that as well. I've not heard that yet. And created a new tutorial world, which, funnily enough, I haven't gone through yet. I have heard it's quite nice, the update to it, so I'll probably just end up going back through that, see what's new. Okay, that's it, guys, for my TU31 update for Minecraft. Please drop a like and a comment below on what your favourite update was. Don't forget to subscribe, because we will be doing our survival world soon. We'll be choosing one of the nice biomes, building with some of the new materials, going through more in depth with them all. So please stick around for that. You'll see quite a few of the new updates in there. And okay, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.